is like, this will help you through the rest of the year. So we're really just understanding how to read this. And honestly, if I made the curriculum, I would probably make this one of the first lessons in geometry because I think it would make sense to do this in the beginning of the year. Call me crazy, but whatevs. So congruent triangles are when two things are equal. So they're exactly the same shape, same size, just like when we did transformations. So congruent triangles have both the same shape and size, which means all the corresponding parts are congruent. Your corresponding parts are not shape and size. Your corresponding parts would be angles and side length, angles and sides. So if the angles and the sides are all congruent, then the two shapes are congruent, meaning they are both exactly the same. Congruency statements is what we're focusing on today. So if you notice your picture, remember the arc marks, because I know we've been out for a week. If I have one tick, that matches the one tick. 2 ticks is going to match 2 ticks. 3 ticks matches 3 ticks. Same thing with the sides. Angles have arcs. Sides have 1 tick, 1 tick, 2 ticks, 2 ticks, whatever. Okay. Now, the congruency statement is a random order of letters. Based on how you write them, it has to match the second one. So if I say, instead of ABC, if I say triangle CAB, just because I decided to change it. C, if you notice, has 3 arc marks. So what does C match with on the other triangle? Not B, F. The next thing I said was A. A has 1 arc mark. What does that match with on the other triangle? D. And then B has 2, which matches with E. So these can be written in alphabetical order like A, B, C, but they don't have to be. However, the first one is written, whatever scrambled letters you choose, that's how you have to write the second one. So let's do one more. If I say triangle CBA, take a second, unscramble the letters in the correct order. C matches with a specific letter, B matches with a specific letter, A matches with a specific letter. Today, we are just focusing on matching and rearranging them in the proper order. So what would be the order for this? What? F, E, D. Because these are all on one triangle, and this is all the other triangle. So you can't have the same letter twice. Like B is not going to be here, B is not going to be here. A is not going to be used twice. They're 2 separate triangles. Okay, moving on. So when we do proofs at the end of this week, because we'll do proofs with triangles for a day, there's this thing called CPCTC, which is shorthand for a really long sentence, which stands for corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Didn't you know? So we're going to write that. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. And what this means basically is once you have the statement written, so if I say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle EFG, then I can list every single angle that has the congruent to the other triangle, and I can list every single side that's congruent to the other triangle. So I can list all the statements that match with the triangles, all the angles and all the sides. Now a triangle has 3 angles and a triangle has 3 sides. So you have to list multiple things, which is basically what we're doing today. This is the whole point of today. So without a picture, if I look at my statement, so this statement is important, you know how to read this. It says triangle JKL is congruent to triangle PQR. We're going to fill these in, and I'm going to write random things because there's not like one way to write it, but however you write the first statement determines how you have to write the second. So if I say angle K is congruent to another angle, K, notice, is in the middle. What letter does that match with on the other statement? Q. So we're going to say angle Q equals, or angle K equals angle Q. They are congruent. What would angle J be congruent to? J matches B. And then the last two would have to be L and what? What? R. So when you're doing angles, it's one letter, which is nice. When you're doing sides, sides represent a length, a distance between 2 points. So we have to use 2 letters for a side. So if I say JK, which is a side of a triangle, JK is the first 2 letters. So what does that match with in the other one? PQ. Okay, I'm going to write out the last 2 and then you can like try them. We're going to say KL is congruent to something, and we're going to say JL is congruent to something. Try to figure out the last 2 sides to this triangle. Technically, you could write them in different orders. So what does KL match with? QR, nice, nice. And then JL, PR. How do we feel so far? Do we feel okay? It's very weird, but like this is all we're doing today is rearranging letters. So then it says write another valid congruency statement. So these are your congruency statements. So we're going to write a different one and then you're going to fill it in. So if I say LKJ, what letter would have to go first? R, and then what would be next? U, and then P. So take a second, try number 2. I'm going to write out the first half so that way everybody's answers are the same for this. So because there's a million ways you can write this. So take a second, copy what I write, and then you're going to fill it in. So I'm going to say angle W is congruent to something. Angle Y is congruent to something. Angle X is congruent to something. I'm going to fill out the sides too. So take a minute, copy that, and then try to fill in the matching pieces. Because if you did it by yourself, everybody's answers would be like random. Scrambled and harder to check your answers. Okay, what's W? Nope. W does not match with that. E, because it's first letter, first letter. So E. Y matches with what? What? No. G. Oh my goodness. And then X is F. Okay. The 2 sides are the harder ones. You have 2 letters. So you have WX. Those are the first 2 letters. So what do they have to match with? EF. Okay, okay. We're getting somewhere. And then XY is the last 2 letters. FG. And then this one, I chose Y and W, which is last and first. So what's my last and first? G, E. Nice. And then if I rearrange it to X, W, Y. Nope. F, E, G. So F, E, G. Okay. Try number 3. Like I said, we're not only doing half of this page today because we're not going to do any of the mathy stuff. We're just rearranging letters. It's very important. It's annoying, but like it's not too many letters. Okay, what's KM match with? AC, nice. Okay, CY, MP, and then PK. YA. And you can use the pictures if you want, okay? Because it's kind of easy to tell that these pieces would match and these pieces would match, and the longest is obviously going to match. But sometimes the triangles are going to look very, very similar to each other. They're going to kind of look like equilateral triangles. That's the whole point of using the congruency statement, because you won't get it wrong if you use the statement. So angle Y matches with what? P. K matches with A, and then it says angle ACY KMP. KMP. And then MPK BYA, and then YAC EKM. Okay, nice. We're going to do 2 more. These involve just a tad of math, and then you guys are going to work on your little problems that you have. We're going to finish this tomorrow, though. So the next part is, instead of just writing out the letters a zillion times, this time they're going to give us measurements. So we have to put the measurements on both triangles, and then we're just going to fill in our little statement boxes. So for number 4, it says, given STW is congruent to BFN, we're going to find each missing measure. So I'm going to fill in my picture first, and then I'm going to fill out the little answers later. So S is 67. Okay, S is the first letter. So where else can I put 67? B, because it's the first letter, because they both match. So because it's the first letter and the first letter, 67 can also go here inside the triangle, because it's an angle. So it's on the inside, not on the outside, because that's a side. Okay, N is 82. N is the last letter. So that's going to match with what? W, because it matches, because that makes sense. Okay. Does anybody remember from before break? Because I know that was a long time ago. How do I find the last angle in a triangle? Good. They have to add to make 180. So you can add them and subtract from 180. Somebody with your phone out, because I know the calculators are not out. If I add and subtract from 180, 31. 31 can be at T. T matches, it's the middle letter, so it matches with the middle letter F, which is also common sense. Obviously, the pointiest of the triangle, so that's why they match. So those are the angles. Now let's work with the sides. I work with my sides, 9 centimeters is a length. That's why it's on the outside. So WS is 9 centimeters. Where else can I put 9 centimeters on the other triangle? BN, because with your eyeballs, you can tell that those sides match because they're the shortest. But if you can't use your eyeballs, you can use your statement. BN matches with SW. Okay, where can 14 go? WT, so 14 centimeters can go here. And then the last side is 17 centimeters. You could either use the congruency statements or use common sense to match that. So take a second, put your answers in your little spots, and then you're going to try number 5. The last one we're doing together is number 5. You're doing numbers. So you're filling in the numbers. What? Yeah. So you're filling in the length because it says find the missing measure.
Oh, why?
Yeah. So try number 5. Last one, and then we'll talk about the answers. So copy down your answers. Try number 5. Yeah. Yeah. Good job, big brain. I saw something. What are you talking about?
Messed the border. Yeah, when you messed the border.
I used to love weapons.
All 3 of my members, all of them. So I just have one in this question. They have like.
Oh, that's just good. They could be like franchise.
They have the best. I don't know what happened.
They like closed down all their locations. I don't think there's Checkers anymore. Where's Checkers?
They're just not believing it.
I know they closed down the St. Pete one and they closed down the Palms Park one. Oh, there's a Checkers close to here. There's one on. I don't know. Where? So it's like right by. No.
They ice cream, that's the place we go. Ice cream. Because it was literally so good.
Yeah. But they combine it. One thing. Oh.
I really eat like.
Back in my day, everything was cheap. Everything was so expensive. It's not crazy. Like, you used to be able to get like a meal from Chick-fil-A for like $6. Now it's like 12. It's actually crazy. More than 10. Yeah.
But their food is really good. April's still. I've been working. I don't know.
There's not even E in this problem. What are you talking about?
They talk bad about it. Like the great project.
Those are angles. So we need to figure out what angle instructor NJ. That's kind of the big problem.
I like that.
And then divide by 2 percent. I went to my dad's house. I went to my mom's house. I went to my father-in-law's house. Because we come from broken homes, so we have to go see them. Thank God my husband's mom does not live here. She lives in like North Florida, Georgia area. Because then if she lived down here, we'd have like 4 Thanksgivings. So it's literally like a concert. It's terrible. Oh, that's fun. I love camping.
Actually,
Like in a tent?
Yeah.
Oh, snap, where? Not glamping? I went glamping this summer, but to be fair, I went glamping in a camper, but it was completely off grid. So we had no Wi-Fi, no nothing, no internet. But I did have a camper.
Still have protection.
I was in California. I was protected from the wildlife.
Still self-protected.
But like also no Wi-Fi. Did you have Wi-Fi in your tent? You didn't have service at all. Where were you camping at? You go to Ocala? Oh. How many days did you go for?
It was nice though.
Oh, you seen baby?
Yeah, so they do.
That's cute. Okay. Okay, I'm getting distracted. GJ. So these little tick marks, remember, that means that they're the same. So if that's 27, this is also 27. How much is GJ? 18. Okay. So GJ's 18. X to Y is going to be how much? 27, because those sides are going to be the same because they're isosceles. So 27, how much is ZY? 27. Okay, now the angles are the inside. This was the hard part. How much was H? 38, because that matches with Y, so 38 can go here. Oh, look at me using Christmas colors. And then Z and J. How did you get 71? Perfect. Because the triangle adds to make 180 every single time, we know that isosceles triangles from before break, they have congruent sides. They also have congruent base angles. So you can subtract from 180 and then divide by 2 to make 71 in both of those bottom corners. We are not crossing out the rest of these problems because we're going to finish this paper tomorrow. You're only going to do these easy problems on the back because then we're going to finish the whole paper tomorrow. Does that make sense? So you're not doing anything else on the front for today. We're going to go to the back. I'll write out the ones that you're doing on the back. So that way, like, you can visually see, because some of y'all don't listen to the words that come out of my mouth. So on the back, you're doing numbers 1 through 6. The first couple questions, I'm going to fill out the congruency statement, like the first half. So that way you have the second half that you're just filling out. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'll fill in the first half of this so that way you can just write the answers and finish the statement without having to think too hard about the first half. So I'm going to write the first half. That way you only have to write the second half. You're just going to finish the statements. One through 6. And then you guys can do number 3, however you want. But that way you have like an example of how they should be written. And then you just finish the congruency statement. You're only doing 1 through 6 today. One through 6. What? I'm gonna freeze this. Let me know if it gets done or check with a neighbor.